These 5 hidden habits are silently destroying your success. Drop them now before they cost you everything. Success never arrives suddenly, and it never comes without preparation. It is like a seed placed in the ground, small, unnoticed, and silent. But whether that seed grows into a strong tree or dries up in the soil depends entirely on what surrounds it. If the soil is clean, nourished, and free from weeds, the seed grows effortlessly. But if the ground is filled with weeds, stones, and thorns, the seed struggles, suffocates, and eventually dies. In the same way, the greatness inside you cannot flourish, while destructive habits wrap around your potential like weeds around a growing plant. Many people believe success is only about adding things: more knowledge, more skills, more opportunities. But true growth begins by removing what blocks your path. A vessel cannot be filled if it is already full of clutter. A person cannot rise if their life is tied to habits that pull them downward. Negative habits are rarely loud. They whisper. They rarely attack. They quietly invade. They rarely arrive full grown. They begin as tiny roots, almost invisible. A small moment of laziness becomes a pattern of procrastination. A tiny seed of self-doubt becomes a forest of insecurity. A brief moment of anger becomes a habit of bitterness. These habits begin softly, but if they are not removed early, they grow stronger, thicker, and harder to uproot. And as they grow, they steal your time, your energy, your clarity, and your ability to move forward. They drain you long before you realize it. Success is not lost in one big mistake. Success is lost in the small habits that slowly destroy your focus, weaken your discipline, and damage your belief in yourself. Every habit you keep is either pushing you forward or pulling you backward. There is no neutral habit in life. The habit of scrolling endlessly steals the time meant for learning. The habit of complaining steals the energy meant for creating. The habit of comparing steals the joy meant for growing. And the habit of postponing steals the opportunities meant for building. Each habit might seem harmless in the moment, but together they form chains heavy enough to keep a person grounded, even when they carry big dreams. Many people blame circumstances, destiny, or lack of opportunity for their lack of progress, not realizing the greatest enemy is the invisible one living inside their daily routine. If you want to rise, the first step is not to climb. It is to release what is weighing you down. A hot air balloon cannot rise until the ropes on the ground are cut. In the same way, your potential cannot rise until the ropes of destructive habits are removed. When you identify the habits that weaken you, you gain the power to replace them with habits that strengthen you. This removal is not a punishment, it is pruning. It is the gentle cutting away of what is unnecessary so that what is essential can grow without interruption. Gardeners prune trees not to harm them, but to allow them to flourish. In the same way, removing harmful habits allows your life to expand in ways you have never imagined. There is a story of a man who walked through a field filled with wild weeds. He wanted to plant a beautiful garden there, so he dug up the soil and removed the weeds one by one. At first, the task looked simple, but the deeper he dug, the more roots he found. Some roots were thick, some long, some tangled with others. It took effort, patience, and determination to remove them. But once the field was cleared, he planted seeds of flowers. Months later, people admired the breathtaking garden, but no one saw the long hours he spent removing the weeds beneath the surface. That is how success works. People see the achievements, but not the internal work, the discipline, the sacrifices, and the habits that were removed silently and privately. What you remove determines what can grow. If you do not remove fear, courage cannot grow. If you do not remove laziness, discipline cannot grow. If you do not remove negative thoughts, vision cannot grow. And if you do not remove destructive habits, success cannot grow. You cannot plant new habits on top of old ones. The soil of your life must be cleaned first. You have dreams inside you that are bigger than your present reality. You have potential that has not yet been seen. You have ideas that could change your future, but these will remain hidden and unexpressed if the habits that suffocate your progress are not uprooted. The process may feel uncomfortable because letting go always feels unfamiliar. Humans cling to routine, even harmful routine, because the mind loves what it knows. But comfort will never build greatness. Growth requires disruption. Transformation requires replacement. A new version of you cannot be born until the old habits within you die. Every time you remove a negative habit, you create space for a better one. Every time you uproot something harmful, you open room for something powerful. And every time you choose discipline over distraction, you strengthen the foundation of the life you want to live. Uprooting these habits is not a one-time event, it is a daily decision. Just as a gardener checks the soil every day, you must check your actions, your thoughts, and your reactions. You must become aware of what pulls you back and be ruthless in removing it. Because success is not only about what you do, it is also about what you refuse to allow in your life. Remove the weeds, and your potential will rise. Remove the habits that drain you, and the habits that empower you will begin to grow naturally. Remove the unnecessary, and the greatness within you will finally have space to breathe. Self-doubt is one of the quietest enemies a person can face, yet it is also one of the most destructive. It doesn't shout, it whispers. It doesn't break the door down. It slowly seeps through the cracks of your thoughts. You do not notice when it arrives, but you always feel the weight it leaves behind. It creeps in during moments of weakness, settles in the corners of your mind, and begins to shape the way you see yourself and your future. Many people are not defeated by challenges, obstacles, or failures. They are defeated by the voice inside them that insists they cannot win. That internal voice becomes louder than their dreams, heavier than their goals, and stronger than their own abilities. It is often said that the greatest battles in life are not fought in the world around us, but in the silent rooms of our own minds. Doubt blinds you to the strengths that are already inside you. It convinces you that you are too small for the dreams you carry. It makes you question your talent, your decisions, and even your worth. Every time you take a step towards something meaningful, doubt pulls you back with reminders of past mistakes, past failures, past weaknesses. It says, remember the last time you tried, you failed. Why try again? It says, you are not special enough, not smart enough, not strong enough. These lies begin to sound like truth if you are not careful. They build walls around your potential, limiting your growth before you have even started the journey. Self-doubt is not simply a thought. It becomes a habit of shrinking when you should be rising, a habit of hesitating when you should be acting, a habit of seeking approval when you should be standing in confidence. a habit of believing others more than you believe in yourself. And like every habit, the more you feed it, the stronger it becomes. It steals your ability to take risks, to explore new paths, to express your gifts, and to chase opportunities that were designed for you. Self-doubt is like walking with heavy chains around your legs. You may still move, but you cannot move freely, easily, or fully. Imagine a bird born with wings, but convinced it was created to crawl. It would never attempt to fly. It would never discover its purpose. It would never experience the freedom it was designed to live. That is exactly what self-doubt does to a human being. It convinces you to live lower than your design, slower than your capability, and smaller than your calling. You were created to rise, yet doubt convinces you to stay grounded. You were created to grow, yet doubt tells you you're not ready. You were created to build, yet doubt persuades you to wait for a better time, a better moment, a better version of you that never seems to arrive. People often think fear and doubt are the same, but doubt is even more dangerous than fear. Fear warns you about danger, but doubt warns you about yourself. Fear says, be careful. Doubt says, don't bother. Fear says, this is risky. Doubt says, you are not capable. And once you begin believing that you are not capable, the world doesn't need to stop you. You stop yourself. Many people could have achieved greatness had they not surrendered to the voice that told them they were not enough. If you look closely at people who succeeded in life, whether in business, spiritual growth, personal transformation, or any meaningful pursuit, none of them succeeded because they had no doubts. They succeeded because they chose not to obey their doubts. They chose to move forward even when they felt unqualified. They chose to try even when their fear screamed louder than their confidence. They chose to take steps forward even when their knees trembled. Courage is not the absence of self-doubt. Courage is the refusal to let doubt control your decisions. Self-doubt usually grows from past experiences. You try once and fail. You try again and stumble. You trust someone and they betray you. You hope and things fall apart. Your mind begins to collect these moments and build a false identity around them. It tells you that your failures define you. But failures were never meant to define you, they were meant to refine you. Every strong person you admire has failed more times than you can imagine. But they did not let their failures give birth to doubt. They let their failures give birth to wisdom. To uproot self-doubt, you must change the way you speak to yourself. Words are powerful. The voice inside you shapes your confidence more than the voices around you. Sometimes you must become your own encourager. You must remind yourself that progress is not about perfection. You must remind yourself that growth takes time. You must remind yourself that you have strengths you have not yet used and abilities you have not yet discovered. You must remind yourself that hesitation kills more dreams than failure ever will. There are moments in life when you must silence the noise around you and listen to the quiet truth within that you are capable, that you are chosen for something meaningful, that you have a purpose bigger than your fear, and that you carry everything you need to rise. Confidence is not arrogance. Confidence is agreement with your potential. And when you begin to agree with your potential, self-doubt begins to lose its power. The chains break, the weight lifts, the mind clears, the heart strengthens. You begin to move, slowly at first, then boldly, then powerfully. Self-doubt will always knock on the door, but you do not need to let it into your home. You do not need to entertain its lies. You do not need to let it shape your decisions. When you choose to drop the habit of doubting yourself, you unlock the greatest transformation of your life. Because once the enemy within is defeated, no enemy outside can stop you. The past has a way of clinging to us like a shadow that refuses to leave, even when we walk into the brightest places. Many people live their entire lives chained not by current limitations, but by memories that should have been released long ago. The pain of yesterday becomes the weight of today, and that weight becomes the barrier of tomorrow. You see, the past is powerful. Not because it controls you, but because you allow it to follow you. It becomes a voice, a memory, a wound, a fear, and slowly it begins shaping the way you look at yourself and the future you are trying to build. Holding on to past pain is like carrying an old, heavy bag everywhere you go. At first, you tell yourself you're strong enough to manage it. Then days pass, and suddenly the weight grows heavier. Weeks pass, and your steps become slower. Months pass, and your energy weakens. Eventually, you begin to believe the world is heavy, not realizing it is the burden of yesterday that is slowing you down. Life was never meant to be lived by dragging the past behind you. You were designed to walk forward freely, but you cannot walk freely if your hands, your heart, and your mind are filled with what hurt you years ago. There are people who are no longer in your life, but their words still echo in your mind. There are moments that ended long ago, but they continue replaying inside you as if they happened yesterday. There are mistakes you made, human mistakes, learning mistakes, but you keep them alive by revisiting them again and again. The truth is, the past does not stay unless you feed it. Pain does not survive unless you keep reopening the wounds. Regret does not fade unless you stop watering it with your memories. What you revisit, you relive, and what you relive, you re-experience. And what you re-experience, you give power to. There comes a time when you must ask yourself, is my past teaching me, or is it trapping me? Pain is supposed to be a teacher, not a prison. It is meant to guide you, not paralyze you. The past is meant to give you wisdom, not wounds that never close. Many people do not move forward because they don't know how to stop looking backward. They are watching the door that closed so intensely that they fail to notice the door that quietly opened right beside them. Opportunity knocks, but they miss it because they are too focused on the sound of yesterday. There is a story of a traveler walking through a desert, carrying a backpack full of stones. Each stone represented a painful memory, betrayal, disappointment, failure, heartbreak. He believed he needed to keep them to remind himself never to be hurt again. But the more stones he added, the heavier the journey became. His steps slowed, his back bent, and eventually he could no longer walk. A wise elder approached him and said, "Your journey is not tiring you, your memories are." The traveler replied, "But I carry them so I won't repeat the same mistakes." The elder smiled gently and said, "Wisdom is learning from the past. Suffering is carrying the past." That simple truth is what many need to understand today. The past is a place to learn from, not a place to live in. Every time you hold on to past pain, you close the door to new joy. Every time you hang on to past failure, you block new success. Every time you cling to past betrayal, you prevent new trust from entering your life. The heart cannot receive if it is still holding something tightly. You cannot grasp new blessings with fists closed around old wounds. Life requires open hands. Healing requires open space. Growth requires release. And your future requires that you let go of what has already happened. Some people hold on to the past because they believe letting go means the pain never mattered. But letting go does not mean forgetting. It means acknowledging the pain, accepting the lessons, and releasing the emotional control it has over you. It means choosing peace over replaying the same hurt. It means choosing the present moment instead of reliving moments you cannot change. You are not dishonoring the past by releasing it. You are honoring your future by making space for something new. Sometimes what hurts you the most is not even the event itself, but the story you created around it. You failed once, and now you believe you are a failure. Someone left you, and now you believe you are unlovable. You made a mistake, and now you believe you are incapable. These are not truths, they are interpretations. They are chains you tied around yourself without realizing how tightly they were wrapped. And the moment you untie them, you will feel how incredibly light your life becomes. There is power in releasing. There is healing in letting go. There is freedom in deciding that yesterday does not deserve the authority to shape today. The moment you drop the past, something amazing happens inside you. Your vision clears. You begin to see possibilities instead of limitations. You begin to feel hope instead of fear. Your energy returns. Your heart opens. Your mind strengthens. And suddenly, the future begins to feel possible again. Letting go is not easy because it requires courage, forgiveness, and trust. Courage to accept that what happened cannot be changed. Forgiveness to release the people who hurt you, even when they don't deserve it. Trust that something better is ahead, even if you cannot see it yet. But when you decide to let go, truly let go, the chains break. The shadows fade. And what once felt heavy becomes light as air. The past will always whisper, but you do not have to listen. You cannot change yesterday, but you can transform tomorrow. And that transformation begins the moment you choose to release the pain that has been holding your life hostage for far too long. There comes a moment in every person's life when they must decide whether they want comfort or growth. The two rarely live in the same place. Comfort feels safe, familiar, and predictable. It asks nothing from you and demands no effort. But comfort is also deceptive, because while it feels peaceful, it slowly suffocates your potential. Growth, on the other hand, is uncomfortable. It stretches you, challenges you, confronts you, and sometimes even breaks you so it can rebuild you stronger. And because of this, many people choose comfort over greatness without even realizing the cost of that choice. They remain in routines that no longer serve them, surrounded by familiar environments that do not inspire them, and governed by habits that keep them small. The greatest enemy of your future is not failure, not fear, not weakness. It is the silent trap of comfort. When you become too comfortable, you stop dreaming boldly. You stop trying new things. You stop pushing yourself. The vision in your heart begins to shrink because your surroundings convince you that everything you already have is good enough. But good enough is often the greatest obstacle on the path to great. A comfortable life is like warm water, pleasant at first, but it slowly weakens your desire to move. And before you know it, the dreams that were once burning inside you begin to fade, like smoke disappearing into the air. Every story of transformation begins with discomfort. A seed must break before it grows. A butterfly must struggle inside the cocoon before it can fly. A muscle must tear before it becomes stronger. A mind must be challenged before it becomes wiser. Even the spirit must be stretched before it becomes deeper. Nothing meaningful grows without being pushed beyond its familiar limits. Yet many people pray for growth while clinging to the comfort that prevents it. They desire a bigger life while refusing the discomfort required to reach it. There is a powerful truth you must understand. Your destiny is always outside your comfort zone, not sometimes, not occasionally, always. The life you truly desire is waiting in a place you have not stepped into yet. The opportunities meant for you are waiting where risk and courage meet. The person you are capable of becoming is hidden behind decisions you have not made yet, challenges you have not faced yet, and experiences you have not dared to embrace. Remaining comfortable means remaining the same, and remaining the same means never discovering what you were truly designed to be. Comfort convinces you to stay where you are. Growth calls you to become more. Comfort says, you already tried enough. Growth whispers, try again. Comfort says, this is too hard. Growth replies, this is how you rise. Comfort says, you don't need to change. Growth reminds you, you were not created to stay the same. And every day, you choose which one you listen to. Every day, you decide whether to step forward or stay still. Many people think discomfort is a sign that something is wrong, but discomfort is often the sign that something is being birthed inside you. When you step into a new level, your mind resists because it is unfamiliar. When you embrace a new discipline, your body resists because it requires strength. When you change your environment, your emotions resist because old patterns are dying. Every time you feel discomfort, it is proof that you are growing. Just as a tree must push through the soil to reach the sunlight, you must push through resistance to reach your greatness. There is a story of a young eagle raised among chickens. For years, the eagle scratched the ground, pecked at seeds, and never tried to fly. The chickens welcomed him because he behaved just like them. He was comfortable, but he was not fulfilled. One day, a storm came, and the wind was strong. The eagle felt something stirring inside him. A strange pull, a desire to rise. But the chickens shouted, "Stay where it's safe. Don't try anything foolish." The eagle hesitated, torn between comfort and calling. But then the wind lifted his wings, and for the first time, he realized what he was created to do. The moment he left the ground, he understood that he had never belonged there. That is what stepping out of your comfort zone feels like. You don't know you can fly until you dare to leave the ground. Growth demands that you walk into places you have never been. It requires saying yes to challenges that feel intimidating and saying no to routines that feel familiar but suffocating. It requires waking up earlier, thinking differently, speaking boldly, taking responsibility, and doing the things your comfortable self avoids. You cannot stay wrapped in the same patterns and expect a new life to emerge. If you want transformation, you must be willing to embrace the discomfort that comes with becoming a higher version of yourself. The world does not reward comfort, it rewards courage. It rewards the person who dares to move when others remain still. It rewards the one who steps out when others stay safe. It rewards the heart that chooses vision over ease. And the moment you stop choosing comfort, the moment you begin choosing growth, your entire life begins to shift. Your mindset expands, your confidence deepens, your perseverance strengthens, and your spirit awakens. Sometimes the discomfort is external, new jobs, new environments, new responsibilities. Sometimes the discomfort is internal, changing your beliefs, healing old wounds, breaking addictions, reshaping your character. But whether the discomfort is inside or outside, it is always preparing you for something greater. And when you choose to embrace that discomfort instead of running from it, you step into the life that was always waiting for you on the other side.